Maranatha, my PBC family and friends. Pastor Brian here with the Quick Bite, Living the Word. Today, our word's going to come from Matthew chapter 14. I don't know why I sounded so weird right there. Today, our text is going to come from Matthew chapter 14. One of my favorite stories in the Bible. You guys probably know this. I've probably even talked about it in the past. But what I want to look at is a different aspect of this story this morning. So in Matthew chapter 14, we run into one of the more unique stories. Right after the feeding of the 5,000, picking up at verse 22, we read these words. It says, "And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. When he had sent the multitudes away, he went up unto a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship," now the ship what? The ship where his disciples were, "was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with the waves, for the wind was contrary." Now, what's interesting about this, I think about this, right? So basically, the ship's out there, the disciples are out in the middle of the sea, and it's the wind's contrary. In other words, they're right in the midst of a storm. But I want you to understand how long they were in this storm. They were fighting this storm, and it says there, "Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea." Now, what I love about this story, I mean, we can go on and talk about Peter walking on the water and stuff like this, but what I think is interesting in this story right now, just what I want to take a look at this morning together, is this. In the fourth watch, meaning between 3 and 6 a.m., so let's just assume that they got on the water even as late as 10 p.m., right? Which would be very unlikely, okay? But nonetheless, they got on there in the evening, and they've been struggling now for hours upon hours with this storm, trying to get their way across this storm. And what I think is amazing about this to me, all right, is the fact that literally, as they're struggling in the midst of the storm, as it seems like it's just going on and on and on, who should show up? Jesus. Sometimes I think in our own lives, I think we forget that in the midst of our storms, as we're struggling on and on and on, that Jesus is in the midst of our storms. If we would look for him, we could see him. He can walk on that storm. He has control over that storm. We don't need to panic or get frustrated or anxious, because God has got this. He's in the midst of that storm, and he's walking on the water. He's coming to help us, to rescue us. He's telling us, even if you didn't have the boat itself, the things that you want to depend on, the safety nets you've constructed for yourself, you could walk on the storm itself, because I am with you. Keep your eyes on me. So I hope this encourages you today. Just kind of think about that even in the midst of that crazy storm, the disciples recognized, or didn't recognize obviously right off the bat, but we see that Jesus came to them in the storm. He was walking on the storm to show, to prove, and to help us understand that he had the strength, he has the power, he has the ability to take us through whatever storms in life we come up against. So I hope this encourages you today. As always, remember that I love you. We love you. God loves you. And God's got this.